It happened on a warm autumn evening in Charleston, the kind that painted the streets gold and made even the oldest buildings look young again. Ethan Walker wasn't expecting anything unusual that day. He had left his office late, walking his usual route home, trying to shake off the heaviness of deadlines and the quiet ache of loneliness that had been sitting in his chest for months. He told himself he liked the quiet, but the truth was the silence had begun to feel too loud. He stopped at his regular coffee shop, the one that always kept one light on even after closing. That's when he saw her, the girl in the soft blue sweater standing outside, brushing her hair away from her face as the wind teased it. She looked lost for a moment, looking at her phone, then back toward the street like she wasn't sure which direction her life wanted her to go. Ethan didn't know her, but for some reason, he slowed down. Maybe it was the way she sighed, like the world had just asked her one question too many. Maybe it was the way she stood alone, small, but not fragile, like she was used to fighting storms by herself. When she finally noticed him walking by, she gave a polite nod. Nothing dramatic, nothing movie-like. But then, she looked back. It wasn't a curious glance. It wasn't a nervous one. It was a soft, knowing smile, as if she recognized something in him she didn't even know she was looking for. In that moment, Ethan felt something shift, quietly but sharply, inside his chest. She couldn't have been more than 24. He was 38. He reminded himself of that instantly, like a shield he had learned to raise long before love ever had the chance to get involved. But that smile? It slipped right past the shield. He tried to continue walking, but something tugged at him, an invisible thread pulling him back toward her. He didn't even know her name, yet her presence felt like a memory he had somehow forgotten. He finally spoke. "You okay?" She laughed softly, almost embarrassed. "My rideshare canceled again, and my phone is dying." Not a great combo. Her voice was warm, light, the kind that made you want to ask more questions just to keep her talking. "I can wait with you," Ethan offered before he could stop himself. "If that helps." She hesitated, then nodded. "Thank you. I'm Lily." The name fit her, gentle, bright, and quietly strong. They stood beneath the soft glow of the shop's light, talking about nothing and everything. Lily had just moved to Charleston for a design internship. She didn't know anyone yet. She laughed easily, spoke honestly, and listened like every word mattered. Ethan couldn't remember the last time someone made him feel seen without him having to explain himself. Minutes stretched into something softer, something that felt strangely like comfort. When her new ride finally pulled up, she stepped toward the car, but paused before getting in. She turned around, her hair catching the light, that same soft smile returning, like she wanted him to know the moment meant something to her too. "It was really nice meeting you," she said. "You too," Ethan replied, his voice steadier than he felt. Lily opened the door, but didn't step inside yet. "Maybe I'll see you around?" He wanted to tell her yes. He wanted to believe in coincidences and fate and all the things he used to roll his eyes at. But all he managed was a nod. She got inside, and the car pulled away. Ethan watched until the taillights disappeared. For the first time in years, the silence didn't feel heavy. It felt like a beginning. Ethan tried to convince himself that the moment with Lily was nothing more than a pleasant encounter. A random evening, a passing smile, something harmless he could tuck away like a postcard from a place he once visited. But the human heart doesn't follow logic. It follows memory, and Ethan remembered everything. The next few days unfolded normally on the surface, but beneath it all, there was an unsettled hum in his chest. He found himself walking past the same coffee shop at the same hour, pretending he wasn't hoping to see her. It was foolish. He knew it. She was 24, fresh to the world, full of new beginnings. He was a seasoned architect whose biggest excitement lately had been reorganizing his bookshelves. Still, on the fourth evening, when he turned the corner and didn't see her, something in him dipped lower than he expected. But life has a strange way of circling back when it matters. Just as he reached the shop's dim entrance, someone called out, "I was hoping I'd bump into you." It was her. Lily stood there again, holding a sketchbook to her chest, cheeks warm from the night air. The sight of her made something inside Ethan loosen, something he didn't know had been tightened. "You're back," he said, trying not to sound like the relief in his voice was real. She smiled, stepping closer. I keep ending up here after work. It feels familiar now. They talked again, this time walking slowly through the older part of Charleston. Lily pointed at buildings with excited curiosity, explaining how she loved studying small details, the way light hit a window frame, how age settled into brick. Ethan found himself sharing stories about these same streets, things he hadn't told anyone in years. She listened with real interest, not polite nods. She asked thoughtful questions, ones that made him see his own memories from new angles. When she laughed, he wanted to be the reason she did it again. At one point, they stopped by the river where the city lights reflected like trembling stars. The air settled quietly around them. I like talking to you, Lily said softly. The confession was simple, but it fell into him with unexpected weight. I like talking to you, too. She looked down at her sketchbook, then handed it to him. These are some of the buildings you mentioned last time. I tried drawing them from memory. Ethan opened the book, and his breath caught. Her sketches were raw but soulful, capturing not just shapes but feeling. She drew Charleston the way he saw it in his quieter moments. You're talented, he said, meaning every word. Lily brushed a strand of hair behind her ear, her voice shy. I just draw what makes me feel something. Their eyes met. For a heartbeat, neither of them looked away. That was when it hit him again, the truth he was fighting. She wasn't just a girl he stumbled upon. She was becoming someone he thought about in the spaces between breaths. But the age difference lingered like a shadow behind his thoughts. 14 years. It wasn't small. It wasn't invisible. It wasn't something he could pretend away. Lily didn't seem bothered by it. She spoke to him like they were equals, like she understood him in ways few people ever had. Still, Ethan felt the distance between their worlds. She was beginning her story. He was somewhere in the middle of his. But moments have a way of ignoring what's practical. When Lily looked up at him that night, her voice was quiet but certain. Can I see you again? Not accidentally this time. A knot formed in Ethan's throat. He should have said no. He knew he should. It would have been the responsible thing. Logical, clean, simple. Instead, the truth slipped out before responsibility had a chance to catch up. Yes. Her smile was small, but full of something hopeful. Something brave. Something that made the night feel warm again. As they walked back, their shoulders brushed once. Neither of them moved away. By the time they said goodnight, Ethan knew he was in trouble. Because feelings don't ask permission. They just arrive, settle in, and change everything. And Lily? She was becoming impossible to walk away from. Ethan tried to step back. He really did. But life had other plans. A storm rolled into Charleston a few days later. Violent rain, heavy winds, the kind that made the city feel smaller. He was driving home when his phone buzzed with a call from a number he didn't recognize. He shouldn't have answered while driving. But he did. Ethan. Lily's voice trembled with fear. I don't know where to go. My power went out, the streetlights are down, and the Uber I called canceled again. Where are you? Ethan's voice sharpened instantly. Near my apartment. It's really dark, and Ethan, someone was following me earlier. I don't know if they're still. I'm coming, he cut in. Stay where you are. Don't move. He drove faster than he should have. When he reached her street, the storm had turned everything into shadows. Lily stood under a flickering porch light, hugging herself tightly. When she saw him, relief broke through her fear. He rushed to her. Are you okay? She nodded, but her voice shook. I didn't know who else to call. He didn't say anything. He simply wrapped his coat around her shoulders and guided her into his car. She was quiet on the way to his place, staring out the window as rain streaked down the glass. When they finally arrived, she stepped inside slowly, taking in the calm warmth of his home. I'm sorry, she murmured. I didn't mean to ruin your night. You didn't, he said gently. I wanted you to call me. That made her look up. They sat on the couch, the storm thundering outside. Lily's hands trembled slightly, and Ethan noticed. Without thinking, he reached out and held them. She didn't pull away. Instead, she leaned closer, her voice small. I was really scared. I know, he whispered. You're safe now. The room grew quiet, warm, fragile. Lily lifted her eyes to his, eyes filled with fear, trust, and something deeper. "Ethan," she said softly, "why do you keep pulling away from me?" He felt the question hit straight through him. "Because I feel something for you," he admitted. "And it scares me." She stepped closer. "It scares me too. Lily, I'm older. I've lived more life. I don't want you waking up one day wondering why you ever." She cut him off with a breathy whisper. "Don't decide my feelings for me." He froze. Then she did something that shattered every wall he had left. She took his face gently in her hands and rested her forehead against his. "Look at me," she whispered. "I choose you." Lightning flashed outside, illuminating her face, soft, beautiful, determined. His heart broke open in that moment, raw and unguarded. He pulled her into his arms, holding her like he'd been waiting years to do it. And when she looked up at him, really looked, she smiled. The same smile from that first night. The smile that ruined him. The smile that saved him. He kissed her then, deep, slow, certain, finally surrendering to the truth he'd been running from. Lily wasn't a mistake. She was the moment everything changed. And he knew, without a doubt, he was never going back.